from Waveland to Dumpling Valley. We're pleased to have the new skipper of the Tennessee Smokies and a Hall of Famer, Ryne Sandberg, join us today. And first off, what's the experience for you being here? I mean, a state that you are in for the first time now.
Well, it's great. I mean, for what I'm doing now, and for this being AA, I mean, it doesn't get any better. So I'm very excited about this opportunity. I'm excited about being in Tennessee, being in the Southern League, a league that I haven't been in before, and to live in a state that I haven't been in. So I've been impressed with what I've seen, and I know that I'm in for a fun summer. I'm looking forward to it, and really it'll be fun once opening day gets here.
All right. You know, over the years of baseball, the legacy players have on the field, and then they try to take it to the managerial part of it. It's been tough for great players to become great managers. Is that something that you've looked at? And what do you try to do to, you know, put aside the ability that you had as a player and then see guys that probably aren't going to be as good as you?
Well, you know what? I think just to say it simply, I think either you like it and you have it, or you don't. You know, I'm all into it, and I'm enjoying this, and I want to be good at it. So that's just my philosophy about it, and up to this point, I think it's gone pretty well. So I can just speak for myself that I think I got into it in '07 just to see if I liked it. Wanted to learn everything I could learn, and I instantly took to it and said, you know what, I like this. This is the next best thing as putting on a uniform and playing the game. So I enjoy that part of it. I enjoy the competition. I enjoy putting on the uniform. The fact that it's a Cubs affiliate is even better yet. And I have goals like all these players have to one day do this at the major league level. So. In the past, if I've put my mind to something, I try and dedicate myself to that and do what I can to reach those goals. So that's kind of the way that I go about it.
A big change this year for you in the lower levels of the minors. It's all designated hitter. Now, when you play the National League style game, the manager really has a large role in the way that the game progresses. You can use all 24 players on your bench. Mm-hmm. Sometimes in extra inning games, the pitchers might come in to hit. I mean, there's all kind of crazy scenarios. I remember Pat Listash, who was the Smokies manager a couple years ago, did a triple switch one time. You know, so how have you? But you've played the National League game your whole career, so you're familiar with it. But what do you do to prepare as far as the managing side of it?
Well, first of all, what I'll do is just study my players, study my team, and then just to be honest with you, it'll just be about applying it and just doing it. You know, I'll have about 16 or 17 games, spring training games in Arizona, to kind of get my feet wet and to do some things. But you know, you mentioned it. The good thing about it is, you know, all 25 guys that come to the ballpark, they need to be ready to play, because there could be double switches and defensive reasons, offensive reasons, all those scenarios. So the first thing for me will be to learn the players, see what their strengths are, see what their place is on the team, and if a guy is not starting that day, he needs to know that he has a pretty good chance that he could be in there. And under the National League rules, you know, the guys that come in late, I mean, in most parts, you're talking about winning and losing the game, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. So everybody will play a part in that, and I'll have a chance to apply those things. And really, that's something that I need to learn. And so that's what's good about this league for my development.
Right. Now, Pat Listash, our first manager with the Cubs affiliation here in Tennessee, a young guy, like to experiment, as I mentioned before, triple switch, just didn't really follow the book all the time, but did a great job and took the Smokies to the playoffs. Last year, Buddy Bailey, a baseball purist, a guy that knows baseball. I've described Buddy as a guy that wakes up with baseball, goes to sleep with baseball, probably dreams of baseball in between managing. How would you describe yourself as far as a baseball guy and a manager?
Well, as a baseball guy, I got plenty of experience. As a manager, you know, what I like to do is stay on top of things. I like to give the players all that I have on any given day. If I'm driving to the ballpark and I have something come into my mind, whether it's with a guy individual, what he could do individually, or what we could do as a team, I like to apply it right then. I don't like to wait. I don't like to hold back. And with that being said, I always I've noticed I always have my baseball wheels turning, which for me is fun.
Yeah.
To do what I did in the uniform as a player for 20-something years, and now to do it at this capacity, I think is the next best thing. I enjoy learning, as I did as a player. I felt like I learned right up until my last day that I retired as a player, and I think I'll do that as a manager too. I'm always looking to learn something. I'm always looking to learn from anybody. So that's kind of the way that I look at it, and I just hope to gain experience and one day have a shot to do this at the major league level. And in the meantime, I'm going to take advantage of all these situations and learn what I can learn.
Mick Gillispie with Ryne Sandberg, Tennessee Smokies manager and third base coach. And I think a lot of people forget that not only are you managing the team, but you have to manage it, and when the Smokies are hitting, you got to be out in the field with them. Do you like coaching third?
That for me, I really enjoyed that. In some ways, that's like the most exciting and the best part for me. I just also did that at the Arizona Fall League, which is a league consists of all the top prospects in all of baseball go out there and we play 38 games. But I coached third base with that level. That was AA to AAA players. I think that's the best part because it's running the offense. It's trying to score runs. You're on the field. There's some action there. Obviously, that's not the whole thing that a manager does. Once you're in the dugout, now it's a little bit more with the pitchers and running the defenses. So it's really never ending. It's a fun way that I've noticed. A fun way for me to watch a game, and I really had to learn to be on my toes. Not only do I pay attention to my players and my bench, but I do that with the opposition on what they have and what that other guy is doing in the other dugout.
Well, before we let you go, I got to ask a selfish question. What was it like working with Harry Carey? And being that he's a Hall of Fame broadcaster, and with the Cubs throughout your tenure there, and when so many people across the country, because the Cubs were on WGN, me on the other side of the world watching the Cubs could follow you guys and follow Harry, and it made watching Cub games so fun for us. Now, I wasn't down on the field like you were. How was Harry Carey to you, and what was it like being around him, and then I'm sure hearing what he talked about that day on television?
Well, what was great about that was his first year in '82 was my first year with the Cubs, and his last in '97 was my last. So we had identical years with the Cubs organization. You know what? Starting in '84, and with the team we had, and with the job that he did on air with Steve Stone, I mean, he really helped bring the Chicago Cubs up to a national watch with the national fans. We were the only game on the afternoon. That was a treat. That was a privilege that we had, and Harry was a big part of that. Harry was very professional, where he didn't want to get too close to the players because ultimately, once the game started, Harry was notorious for just calling the game how he saw it. So if a guy stunk that day, he said the guy stinks. If a guy was great, the next day he's great. Right. So that's how the fans look at it. That's very fair. And so it took a little bit of time for the players to get used to that, but once they saw that it was the good and the bad, and he just called it as he saw it, he was terrific. So he was one of a kind. He was a huge part of the popularity that the Cubs became through the 80s into the 90s, and maybe even today. He was a big part of that, and it was fun. It was fun being around him. Of course, I got a kick out of a lot of the broadcasts, even though I was playing. The opposing players and the guys on the bench had a kick listening to what he would say. And there was one year that we had Jim Sundberg and Scott Sanderson and myself on the same team. So that year I was called Jim Sanderson and Sign Randberg, and I mean, not even close. But you know what? Everybody knew who he was talking about. Right. So he could pull that off and get away with that, and he was one of a kind, and really an icon even today in Chicago.
Thanks for coming on, and I'm looking forward to spending this summer with you.
Thanks. I'm looking forward to it too. Thank you.
That's the new Smokies skipper, Ryne Sandberg.